Hello, everyone. This is Cassandra Williamson with The Path Forward. It is Friday, March the 21st, 2025. And wow, thank goodness it's Friday, right? Maybe some things will calm down over the weekend. Who knows? But don't count on it. There's always something crazy coming out of this White House. So even on weekends, nights, anything's possible. You just have to be girded up and ready to go, okay? All right, so I want to mention a couple of news stories before I kind of close into other things, okay? But the first thing is I want to talk about what Musk is doing, libs of TikTok, different ones over on the right are doing right now. So I'm going to share a screen with you. This is from CNN from earlier today. Okay, just hang on. I'm going to go do this and click there to share. Okay, so let me see if I can get that thing out of the way at the top. Okay, so Elon Musk. Musk links trans people to Tesla attacks the same day his estranged daughter critiques him in Teen Vogue interview. Okay, so this is from CNN, I believe. Yeah, CNN. And so that's the first story. Now, this is not something that's new. He's been saying this for a long time. And people over on the right are starting to do it more and more and more now. Okay, they're trying to associate being trans with being also violent. Okay. And he goes down through here and says something that I thought was really fascinating. Not fascinating in the sense of good, but fascinating in the sense of portending bad things. Okay. So let me go down. I'm scrolling down the bottom of the page. So Musk has also, I'm going to read this part right here from CNN. Okay. Musk also repeatedly circulated posts connecting the reports of vandalism on Teslas to trans people. And he goes on to quote and use a statistic that was published the first part of this year, I think January the 2nd or something like that, from a UK study. Okay, what are statistics on trans violence? Musk asked in yet another X post. The probability of a trans person being violent appears to be vastly higher than non-trans people. Hormone injections cause extreme emotional volatility. That is a fact. That's what he said. The libs of TikTok have been echoing the same kind of stuff for quite some time. And if you're a trans person, that's what they expect from us is violence. They think that that's what we're all about is violence. Now, granted, there are some ignorant people out there, ignorant trans people out there, or non-binary people out there who actually are committing violent acts or destruction of personal property or business properties or something like that. And they need to stop. Because every time something bad like that happens, someone of us in this community, no matter what the statistics say, and this study, by the way, has been discredited over and over and over again. It's a UK study. It's been discredited. Everybody knows that it's based on lots and lots of fallacies. There's all kinds of issues with it. I'm not even going to get into it. But we don't want to feed into that narrative, folks. If you know someone who's thinking about doing something like that, violence or destruction of property or, being a public nuisance, don't do it. Tell them to stop, back them down somehow or the other. We got to get them off of that because it does nothing but make this situation worse. The outcome from all of this talk, we know what history says about the outcome whenever somebody says, this group is the one that's causing all of our problems. This group is causing all of the financial problems that we're having. This group is causing all of the societal problems that we're having. When you start scapegoating a group just because they're different from you and you're ideologically forced, basically, to move along with those kind of thinking, to progress with that kind of thinking, then what's the logical outcome? Well, we've seen history. We know what history says, or at least we should know history. But something we very conveniently forget about it. And we think, that's not going to happen here. It can't do that. Well, yes, it can, folks. We are not immune to violence on us, on the entire population. And all this talk from Musk and Libs of TikTok and other people over here, Jesse Waters and the Five on Fox, and all these people talking about this rising, connecting violence with trans people. And now, granted, now we'll tell you that one person up in Michigan, was it Michigan, Illinois? Illinois was a trans person who did vandalize a Tesla facility up there, and that person needs to be, prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law possible. Okay, absolutely needs to, and I for one will do everything in my power to even assist them to find this person if they haven't already. I think they did find them, but they need to be prosecuted because we don't need that stain on us. We've got enough going on against us as it is, folks. Come on. All right. So this violence, this uptick of violent rhetoric coming from them, calling us violent, will lead to one thing. You know what the historical analogy of that is? Who can tell me? Who can tell me what the historical analogy for that is? You can put it over in the chat if you want. Put it in the chat. I can tell you what it is. We're going to see a repeat of the lavender scare from the late 40s, 50s, and early 60s. But that was only based on one thing. That was based on the threat to national security for gay and lesbian people to work for the government. That's what the lavender scare back then was all about. They said that it challenged national security. It was a threat to security of the nation. So they didn't want those people in there. Okay. And obviously they were crazily wrong, hugely wrong. But that's not even what this is about. That's that as a national security issue. And just wait, if we start seeing that coming from Hegseth, coming from the Trump administration, from the White House, you start seeing talk like that this is a national security issue, then we know that the lavender scare is going to repeat itself. But then you put that with the stuff that's going on with Elon Musk and Libs of TikTok and all these others out here saying that trans people are inherently violent, when in fact we aren't. But, if they control the narrative, it doesn't matter whether it's true or not. If they control the narrative and we don't respond to it, then we're just bringing the wrath of the majority population down on us. Okay, you got to respond to it, but don't do it in a violent or any kind of way like that. We've got to call it out and point out to them that this is not true, folks. This is just simply not true. Most of us are very good people. We're out here doing honorable, hard work. We're pushing and doing things in our societies, in our communities. We're living our lives. We don't want to be a subject of the national spotlight. We're just out here doing the job. We don't want to be on Libs of TikTok because we did something crazy, do we? We don't want to be mentioned by Musk because some one of us decided to go out and torch a Tesla somewhere. Stop already. Can I be any more clear than that? Stop already. Got enough going against us rather than you feeding into it. All right. So I'm hoping that this message can get out there and people can see it. Now, I'm going to jump into another news story here. And this one is from Michigan Democrats. And actually, it's from Erin in the Morning. If you can go find that on Substack. She's out there, Erin in the Morning. Go subscribe to her channel, whatever you want to do. But she put out a story this morning. Is entitled 8 Michigan Democrats defect to pass anti-trans resolution. Okay. So we're seeing the schisms taking place over on the left side of the political spectrum now. Democrats are starting to go over and vote in support of some of these policies that's coming out from the right, attacking LGBT people, attacking trans people specifically. So we're starting to see that, and that is a result of this narrative that none of us have been pushing back against strong enough. We haven't been saying it in a loud manner with the loudest bullhorn we can find. If you're participating in violence, you're doing something to destroy someone else's property, then we condemn it. Condemn the stuff. condemn those actions. It's got to stop, because every single incident like that, hey, it'll get used by the right to further the story, further the narrative that Musk is putting out, and Libs of TikTok, and Jesse Waters, and the Five, and you name it. Different places out there, showing up all over the place. You can go look at threads on X and finds all kinds of stuff about this. Okay, it's narrative. They control this thing right now. They're the ones in front of it, and we're having to play catch up. And I'm going to tell you, it's a challenge, but you got to call it out. Got to call it out. That's all there is to it. So the next thing I want to mention, I'm going to change tack just a little bit as I catch a drink here. Hold on a second. All right. So I'm going to take a breath. This morning, a good friend of mine, a very good, dear friend of mine, mentioned something that I wrote down, and I'm going to let you kind of jump in on it and kind of tell me what you think about this, okay? It's going across the little ticker thing across the bottom of the screen. It says, think before you stick your finger in a light socket, okay? Yep. That actually ties back into what we were just now saying, but it goes way beyond that too. You know, how can I say this in a polite manner? I can't. Okay, I can't do it. Don't put, if you know you don't pass, do not put yourself in some place where you're going to get called out and you're going to get in trouble. Avoid those places. Find some place else to go to the bathroom. Find a locker room that is neutral or whatever. But Lord God Almighty, don't go out there and put yourself in a place where somebody will snap a picture of you and you'll end up over on Musk's X channel being talked about. Don't do it. Okay? And then one more thing. I'm jumping off of that one for a minute, okay? I'm jumping from that one. If you want to go subscribe to my stuff, you can do that at www.cassandra-llc.com. Go click on the menu button and you can find subscribe and all the blogs that I've put out too as well. You can go check them all out. We've had a lot of people participating and commenting and, viewing the different programs. I think yesterday's show had like 52 viewers in total, from what I could see from my count that I keep track of on Restream. But how do we move forward, folks? That's the biggest thing right now. We need to be thinking of. One, be aware of your surroundings. Big thing. Don't put yourself in a place to get harmed, to be hurt. Don't do it. Think. And then also don't go into places where, well, you could become the subject of a national story, or just add to the narrative that those trans people out there, whatever. You got to start thinking of the whole of the country rather than just what you want and what you think is best for you. I'm going to tell you a lot of don'ts and a lot of do's. The biggest do is take care of yourself, take care of your communities, take care of your families, such as they are, whether it's a chosen family or your natural family or your adopted family or whatever. Take care of your families, be there for them, and make sure that whatever you do reflects in a positive way on the entire community. And I would even go so far that if from now on we start seeing more people doing something stupid, more people in our community doing something stupid, then maybe they're a plant. This is me speculating. Maybe they're a plant from somebody over on the right that's just looking to exacerbate a problem and prove, such as it is, their point. But one of the things you have to take care of is your mental state of mind, okay? Your state of mind, your health, your well-being. And it's one thing to be covered up in all the news stories that are bad and going after trans people all across the United States and in England right now and Great Britain and stuff like this, and Hungary with Viktor Orban and all of that. All those things are taking place. It's not being done in a vacuum. But take care of yourself. Go over to places like transgendermilitaryvoices.com. Brief Ram, Colonel Brief Ram's website. Check out those positive stories of members of the active duty military who are actually doing great things. They've been doing it for a while. They're there working and living their lives as best they possibly can. They're doing it in an environment where they have been told they aren't wanted or want to be kicked out, even though we know they don't deserve to be kicked out for any reason whatsoever. But go check out that page, transmilitaryvoices.com. It's Colonel Brief Ram's page, website. Go check that out, because that's where you can find some peace of mind, some narratives to help shape your thinking so that you're not always thinking of the negative stuff. Because that's part of what all these news stories are doing to a lot of us out here in this community, is that they're robbing us of our peace of mind, and they're trying to drive us into having a mental breakdown or something or other, because then it further proves their point. So the way to fight against it is surround yourself with positive stories. Surround yourself with those narrative exposure. Well, let me just put it this way. The field in psychology is narrative exposure therapy, okay? Control your narrative in your life. If you have to turn off the news, turn this show off, or whatever you got to do it to protect yourself so that you aren't a part of the problem later, okay? So that you are alive tomorrow even. I've had veteran friends of mine, dear friends. I've met many of them all across this country who are on the verge of they're talking of suicide and stuff like that. And I'm going to tell you, I don't want to hear a single one of those stories of you not being with us. I want you to be here tomorrow. But you have to control your narrative in your head, okay? You've got to get control of that. And the stories that you surround yourself with are the things that can do that. You know, it's like there used to be all kinds of self-help books out. Started in the 40s when they started, I think it was Dale Carnegie, and different people were writing all of these biographies of famous people. Well, the famous people that you need to focus on right now, the heroes you need to focus on, are the ones that you can find over there on Brief Ram's page, Colonel Brief Ram's Transgender Military Voices, okay, .com. Go there and find that. You can surround yourself with some positive stories. You can see people who are working and doing their thing and living their lives and contributing. They're doing things that are for the good of the country. Many of them, several of them, not many, but several of them are actually in active duty war zones now, or combat zones now. Many of them are here in the States. Many of them are spread out in all our different territories, but they're everywhere, and their stories are valuable to you. And then share the stories that you find over there on that page, on that website, Transmilitary Voices. Go over there and do it. I'll be posting one a week, I think, is what I plan on doing. I think Bree is posting them every day or so, a different story on LinkedIn. So spread the word. Show that we are strong, resilient, and we know how to be violent when we need to be, especially if we're in the military. If we're called into combat in the military, we know how to be violent. We've been trained to be violent. But that is not what we want showing up on the evening news. Okay? So see you Monday. Have a great weekend. I may do something live in the morning. I'm not quite sure. I'm working on something, but yeah, you'll find me on Facebook or LinkedIn or YouTube, Twitter, Blue Sky, wherever. Okay. Have a great evening, everyone. And big hugs from me to you. Be safe and surround your mind with the things that actually are uplifting. Okay. Bye-bye.